Okay. So both of you ladies are fairly new, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So introduce yourselves to each other because it's nice for you guys to be able to connect and just see a familiar face. Sometimes you might want a volunteer, somebody that's not in your friend circle or family circle. So it's quite nice to connect with people because you can just kind of send them a little message on Facebook if you're in the group, or if you want to connect through me, that's totally fine. But Anna, just introduce yourself and just let us know where you are actually and what brought you to Soul Awakening Academy.
Okay, so I'm in Somerset. Um, yeah, I've been a teacher for 30 years, and
Wow.
I've decided that the end of this summer term is my last. That's going to be it.
Mm-hmm.
I got into Reiki a few years ago,
Yeah.
and really liked that. So I did recently your meditation teaching diploma, and really enjoyed that, and thought that would go really nicely with the Reiki. And then it got me thinking about building my own business
Mm.
from when I finish teaching. So looked at all of your courses, and they really resonated with me, and thought that actually the trauma informed coaching would be really good for me.
Yeah, amazing. Gosh, so you're really stepping out of wow, you're about to go through a complete kind of life change in a way, aren't you?
Yes, new adventures.
Amazing. Okay, so you might have some juicy things to be coached around, which is fantastic. That's great. And how do you pronounce your name? I always get it wrong whenever you join my
Uh,
lives.
no, that's all right. It's Tazania, but everyone
Tazania.
calls me Taz. So
Taz. Brilliant.
yeah, I was going to put just Taz up, but no, then everyone
Tazania,
says,
Taz.
"What's it short for?"
That's brilliant.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I guess I started the program at this just before Christmas, I think, but then I took the holidays off. But um, I don't know. I've been always been into self-development and that sort of stuff, and I've spent 15 years working with women to I don't know, create safety and that in their lives within the domestic violence space. I was working with a non-government organisation for a long time as a team leader, and I had a chat with you and Marie
Mm,
maybe about might have been September or so last year.
yeah.
I was sort of really interested in doing the course and not happy at work and thinking of leaving, and then an opportunity came up where my CEO offered a redundancy if I was sort of wanting to take it. So I thought, God, this is the universe telling me that it's time to make that leap into something that I was interested in. So at the end of last year, I took a redundancy, and I haven't been working this year thanks to that redundancy. And I've just been focusing on doing this and spending some time with my family. So I guess what I really want to do is just continue my focus on working with women, but sort of stepping out of that crisis space that I've worked in for so long, and sort of having a more positive focus on, creating empowerment and positive change for people's future. And I have a really strong passion towards assisting women, empowering women through those big life transitions, like into motherhood, or
Mm,
that sort of midlife, perimenopause, menopause stage where you feel like you're going crazy and you don't know what you're doing, what's your purpose in life anymore. So, mainly because that's my personal story. So,
mm,
yeah, I just want to sort of focus on that and helping women, you know,
yeah.
find their strengths in those
Yeah.
times. So,
I love that. And Anna, do you know what your kind of niche might look like? Yeah.
Quite similar actually. I'm I'm wanting to work with women perimenopause, postmenopause kind of time, and empower them to see that actually, during that time of life when balance and when you just feel like you're going mad,
Yeah.
just uplift them and empower them to know that they're still valid.
Yeah. And I think it's crucial times in people's lives, women's lives, The motherhood, my gosh, such a transition that you go through in motherhood and menopause. It's I'm experiencing it myself, perimenopause, and that's all me and my friends talk about now when we get together. It's like, God, are we really here? And you can question so much because we're kind of getting to that midlife stage where we know how we kind of, some people feel like they've kind of, well, what they've been doing for the bulk of their life, is that really what they want to spend the rest of their future years doing? And if the answer's no, people's lives can be kind of tossed up like a deck of cards. So
Oh.
they're really pivotal key moments in people's lives. So I think that's really cool. What would you like to get from today's call? Because there's only two of us that are here. So you've kind of got an open avenue to me. So do you have any questions in mind that you'd like me to answer?
I guess sticking with the topic or theme that you've got for today around setting up your own business, I think that's been the biggest struggle for me so far, is just making that leap to actually working with clients. And like, I know I can do it because I've been running, an organization for 8.5 years. So it's not that. It's just knowing where to start, like how to start it. Yeah, I don't know, like, what do I ask? Like, if I'm still technically in training to be a life coach, what can I ask for fees? Do I need to tell people how much, or tell people that I'm in training and reduce my fee for that purpose? Or do I just, carry on with the fee that I think I'm worthy of it now, and don't indicate that I'm halfway through my course? um,
My feelings on it really are, if this area is completely new and this is a brand new business venture, um, it's something like you have to find your confidence in, you have to find your feet in. Or if you're just transferring skills, you're learning a new skill, but you're actually transferring a lot of what you already do, what you already know, into this business, then no, I don't think you don't need to charge. I think you should charge, because what people are getting is this wealth of experience that you already have. How does that feel to you? Is that true, what I just said?
yeah, well, that's kind of what I've been thinking. It's, it is a transference, even though it's, a different niche and a different angle, and it is still a slightly different set of skills. It's still, working with people one-on-one, having those, well, it's not counseling, it's still like having those conversations. I kind of agree, but I don't even know what my worth is. Like, I kind of, in my head, I have this sort of figure, like in Australian dollars, it might be $150 an hour, but I don't know, am I underselling myself? Or if I'm working with someone outside of Australia, $150, like if I was to change that to the, the pound, it's not much at all, sort of thing. So yeah, it's those things. Knowing, what
I
worth
hear
I
you.
would put on it.
I hear you. It's what it's all, we all go through this. Gosh, my pricing has fluctuated so much trying to find sweet spots.
Yeah.
Let me just come back to that.
Yeah.
Anna, what do you feel you'd like to kind of questions you'd like to bring to the table today?
The same questions work for me really as well. Do you kind of? I think it's really important to put a value on what you do, though. I do Reiki treatments on friends, and without a value, without charging them anything, I think they kind of see it as just I don't know, well, I think if I charge them, if I give them, even if it's a very low cost, then there's still value to what you're doing, because it's it's an important thing that you're providing them with. Sorry. For me, the starting up in a business, yeah, that's a really, questions around that really at the moment, because my head is all a little bit muddled about that, really. The charging, whether it's, do you think that with the coaching, it's better to have a system, a program, a group of sessions, or is one-off better to do? I don't know if I've explained that very well.
You have. I'm just going to grab a pen and a piece of paper, because guess what? My perimenopausal brain doesn't retain as much information as it used to, and I want to answer all your questions. So basically, this is about value pricing. But if you were to kind of go underneath that and you thought, well, just imagine, put yourself in a space where you believed, it's going to happen. No matter what you charge, people are going to pay you for it. Just sit with that for a minute and just tune in. You can close your eyes. You can just sit with that statement. But tell me what comes up with that. What in a statement, what emotions come up with that? Put yourself in a space where you believe and you know wholeheartedly that no matter what you charge, people are going to pay you. So bypass what you believe is a problem and get to the feeling behind it. What's really going on with that question that you have around value and being not knowing what to charge, etc. What comes up for you?
For me, I think it's just it's a confidence thing, and it's something that I've always struggled with. I know I can do it, but it's taking that leap that and there's a lot of and I've written about a lot of this in my work, this feeling that things have to be perfect before I can put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, that I'm going to be judged, or people are going to, question my ability to do this work. So while I think, like I put that figure out there, I don't think that's not what I want to be charging once I feel confident. Like, I want to be, hopefully my worth will be more than that. But yeah, it's just getting that confidence to just make that start and not worrying about what, like, in my mind, that people are going to judge me and going to have, like, say that I'm not good enough or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so
and I think that it's that perfectionism that is stopping me from just getting in there and just having a go. Because I feel like I need to have it all set up and all perfect to start running, as opposed to just small steps.
Take that belief. The belief is I have to have it perfect before I start and get it all up and running. Take that belief, okay, and now believe that that's true. You've got it perfect. It's perfect. There's no more work you can do on this to make it any better than it already is. Now sit with that energy and tell me what comes up for you.
Yeah, if it's all perfect, I think, like, I'd feel confident, but I think it's still that, what do I need to do to start it? Like,
Okay.
I feel like I'm still having that block of, like, almost like I need a guideline or steps to, okay, this is what you need to do.
So
Um,
with that guideline and those steps, so putting yourself in the space where it's perfect, I'm really happy with what I've created. There's no
yeah.
more tweaks that need to go on. I've done it. I've nailed it. I love it. It's brilliant. I feel so confident in it. I'm so confident people are going to love it too. And if anybody wants to give me feedback on where they feel it could have been better for them, that's great. I can take the feedback and I'll make a judgment on that. So put yourself in that space of feeling empowered with your product and your service. It's ready to go. So you said you feel confident about that. That'll give you a sense of safety and confidence. But then what's lacking is this need to know what to do next. What are the guidelines towards starting a business? So imagine you had that template and imagine you knew what the next steps were. So you'd worked on tweaking the product, and now you've already understood exactly what you're going to do to get this thing off the ground and up and running. So put yourself in those spaces. Those 2 blocks have been taken away from you. Nothing stands in your way anymore. Just imagine that day when you feel that way. Got the best product possible right now, and I know exactly what to do to open the doors to this business. Now tell me what comes up for you.
Well, I think I'd be able to do it. I don't think there'd be like nothing that I can think of a reason that would stop me from that point other than just me just getting in there and doing it, not procrastinating. But I know my procrastination comes from that feeling that things need to be perfect to
Well,
put it
that's not
out
there
there. But if
anymore.
that's not there, then yeah, just need to get in there and just do it. Just yeah. I'm assuming, knowing how to source the clients too is a thing, but if there's sort of guidelines around, how to advertise and that sort of stuff,
Yeah. And
yeah, I'd feel,
how much
sorry,
would you be charging?
I'd be charging more. I'm not, I don't know, if 250 an hour comes to my mind, but maybe even more depending on what type of work I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, good, good. So how does that feel for you? No blocks, no barriers. You're happy with your product. It's ready to go. You know the steps to take. You're ready to go. You've targeted your market. You know where they are and how to reach them. You're ready to go. You've set your pricing, 250 to 350 maybe per hour more, depending on what you're offering as a service and how long it's going to take, etc., and what's involved. How does that feel now?
Yeah, that feels good. I'd be, yeah.
So working back from that to where you are now, what is the next step?
How to source paying clients would be one thing. I struggle to even get my family and friends to just volunteer their time to practice on. So for me, yeah, would be how to source those paying clients, like how to put myself out there, whether it be advertising or putting my name on a coaching site. Yeah, just knowing where to get my people that want me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if that feels like an area that you want to explore, then that's valid. So what we need to try and do is we need to separate out the fact from the fiction.
Mm,
So the facts are you need to know, how do I start to get clients? That's a fact, right? The fiction might be I'm not going to get any clients. I'm, why would clients want me? That's a fiction. So it's important we realize what is going on in my head, like what's true, what's a false belief, so that you've got to iron out those things because some things are real. Like, well, how do I even get going in a business? They're real things. So the practical elements that you can work on to help you feel more confident as a business owner might be what? I'm not going to tell you what they are because then that's me doing the work. But in your mind, for you to understand the foundations, basics, fundamentals of setting up a business, where can you gather that information from?
well, I've been doing a lot of research online, sort of in Australia, what we need to do to register the business and all that sort of stuff. I kind of get stuck a bit with, like, I feel like I need to have a website,
Hmm.
but I know that it's probably not essential, but setting up a website. My husband runs his own business, quite different, but I've sort of been bouncing ideas off him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know there's things that I need to do that I haven't paid the money to register my business name yet. Mostly because I was still tossing up ideas. I wasn't completely happy with the name, but I think I've come up with one now that really aligns with my work. And I've been reaching out to, because being in your mid-40s, haven't been a huge social media user, and especially with my line of work where I tried to avoid it a fair bit. I've been reaching out to those, like, the social media managers, I'm not sure what you call them, but people that run other businesses' social media. I'm just trying to get ideas and of what to do to grow,
Yeah.
make yourself seen on social media. But that's a big thing too, like putting yourself on Instagram or Facebook when it's something that you've always avoided. So I'm sort of playing around a bit with that at the moment too. And I've done a bit of research. I know you've previously talked about places in the UK, I think it is, where you can register, like put your name on a registry that people can look up. There's some in Australia as well, but what I've seen, people on there are already got their accreditation. So I've kind of been looking at that, but I just don't know if you can put your names on those sorts of things if you're not yet qualified or certified in the work
That's
as
something that
well.
you
So
need to go into a bit more
yeah.
with that particular organization. But because you're already bringing these transferable skills across,
Mm,
it might be a case that you just need to work out, like, what is the service that you're providing? Do you already have insurance for that? Do you know what I mean? It's like
mm,
something you need to consider potentially is insurance with the service you've already been providing for young
mm,
women and what you're going to step into. Like, do you have the I's dotted, the T's crossed where that's concerned, where insurance is concerned? And you can add coaching on later. I mean, how big is the coaching part? Have you already got experience from your previous career to be able to manage that? And obviously, this training you're doing with me is going to enhance that, give you another certification, but you can still get going.
mm, yeah. Yeah. I totally forgot about the insurance part. Like,
Yeah.
I know that comes at when we get accredited at the end of our masters. But yeah, at this point, I haven't even
Yeah.
thought about that.
So all of
Yeah.
those things are relevant. And
Yeah.
if you go, so the question is, right, have I got a business right now today? Do you know what I mean? That I can open my doors to and start taking clients. Now, the answer might be yeah, it might be not yet. So then you need to think about, well, if it's yeah, okay, I can go and make the moves, get the information. You can still register your business, by the way. Yeah, oh no. But if you don't have a business that you can open your doors to tomorrow, you still have the opportunity to build the business now for when you do open the doors and you feel like, yeah, now's the time when I'm going to be taking clients. And it really depends on how you want to market your business, where you feel comfortable. If you're not comfortable on social media, think of another avenue. And it could be that you go networking and you speak to people directly, and that's where you're going to get, you could be going into businesses, agencies that can give you work, charities that can give you work. That's not necessarily going to come from social media. It could be LinkedIn that you use. You could even start a YouTube channel where you create videos or podcasts to talk about what you do. So there are many, many different channels. You don't have to do them all, but it's advisable to do one or two wherever you feel comfortable, and to do that really well. So where do you feel like would be a good step for you to go? So thinking about everything I've just said, like what's kind of landing with you, what's coming up for you?
Yeah, when you sort of mentioned sort of targeting businesses or agencies, I feel like with being my focus on, like especially if focusing on perimenopause, menopause, that sort of thing, I feel, especially within the workplace, that that's something that hasn't been explored enough, and that there needs to be more understanding. So maybe, something along the lines of educating workplaces or people in workplaces around that time of life, and how it affects our brains, and trying to get everyone to be a bit more understanding of the situation. But then I also feel like, because like all my friendship group and a lot of people that I have worked with in the past are either there now or approaching it, that potentially I could, if I pushed a bit harder of promoting myself, could find clients through that avenue as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That sounds like something you could do, right?
Yeah.
It's free. It's not going to cost you any money. It's not going to cost you any advertising fees. It's just a plan. It's a bit of a strategic plan, and then it's something that you can make happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anything else within that, because how does that then tie into basically feeling that you have to have it all perfect? Like if you got when would you want an opportunity when do you feel you're going to be ready to do this, like to go out there and deliver it?
Ideally, I'd like to be sort of making some sort of money from it by the middle of the year. It's kind of,
Yeah. So a couple of months.
yeah.
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 And do you have it ready or near ready?
No.
No. And how
No.
far off it are you, or haven't you started yet?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I think I could. all the doubts in my head kind of say that I'm a long way off it, but
Mhm.
really, if I don't need a lot just to start doing something, then I'm not far at all from it. Like,
Good.
yeah, maybe like, you know, setting up ways of payment or doing up some, you know, like the invoicing or whatever that sort of aligns with my, you know, that's my business, so I can send to people once they start reaching out. I haven't sort of done that yet, but I could easily do that if I just sat down and focused on it for a couple of days.
Yes.
But yeah, I probably could start within weeks if I just knuckled down and did it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be ready to charge what I'm thinking that I'm worth
That's fine.
yet. Yeah.
Listen, whatever your worth is, whatever your worth, and actually, it's whatever someone's willing to pay. So
Yeah.
I think we all need to get that "what am I worth" value, what you're going to pay me, out of the window. Whatever someone pays you isn't how they judge you, and you know what I mean. It's just
Yeah.
everything changes. Like money changes, people's perception of money changes. It's money is ever changing all the time, so you have to kind of dispel that a little bit and realize that, okay, what would happen if I did this for free for all the time for 4 weeks? Like what would be the impact on me and my business if I did this for free and just got out there as much as I possibly could, didn't earn a penny?
Well, they'd be positive that you'd just be making a start and learning from mistakes that pop up. Yeah.
And what else might be a good reason to just think of this as a bit of a to get more playful with it,
Yeah.
to feel like there's a sense of freedom and flexibility in your business and in your thinking and your creativity and your ability to create.
Yeah. I guess it'd take that pressure off, that feeling like you have to, everything has to be perfect if you're not asking for money for it. Yeah. If I gave myself like a like you said, if it was for 4 weeks, if you were to do it for 4 weeks, yeah, I think it'd be fine. I'd be afraid that I'd sort of go down the path of just feeling like, how then would I turn around and ask for money for my work if I did it too much? But yeah, there's no reason why I can't just do that and
And there's
start
nobody saying,
experimenting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what you need to do, but the
Yeah.
opposite of what you're saying is just show up, do it for free,
Yeah.
and take it from there. And what would be the positives? You know, think about what might be the negatives for you as well. But
Mm.
just to loosen up that grip on, do you have do you think you have any beliefs around underselling yourself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always been something that I've done.
yeah.
And there's always been that in my previous work, I've always had that imposter syndrome pop up often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Confidence has always been a big thing, even though I know deep down I can do things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, I think being an introvert naturally and feeling like, you know, a perfectionist as well, it just keeps coming up that, yeah, yeah, it's always something that I've had to work through um, in my previous careers.
Yeah. As
That
in, you
that's
feel like you've undersold yourself.
yeah, or going into anything, I keep getting these you know, my inner voice telling me, oh, you're not good enough. People are going to see that you don't really know what you're talking about when you're giving a presentation, or you know, um, you're not smart enough to be doing this sort of work. And it's always, being in a team leader role where you have to constantly be up presenting, or guiding other staff, or talking with, the heads of government organisations. Like, I know I can do it, and the feedback that I would get would be really positive. But every single time going into it, I'd still be having that conversation that, oh, you haven't prepared enough, or what if they ask a question and you don't know, or you give the wrong answer, and they're going to see that you don't really know your work. Even though I've done it over and over again, and I know that I know the work, it's just this voice in my head that keeps popping up every time before I step out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you say you keep having this conversation of that voice, so that conversation's there. Well, what about the other conversation where you say, but I know my stuff, I've done this time and time again, I always get great feedback. How often do you have that conversation with yourself?
Well, I probably have that conversation almost just as much, but it's just not as strong. The negative one seems to win all the time. So
Even though that one never appears to be true.
yeah, it's. I
So
mean,
you'd
I had
rather
a.
believe in a lie than a truth.
Yeah, it seems. It seems. I had a bit of a, when I did leave my last job, I had a bit of a weird exit with my boss, not my CEO, my boss, and she put a lot of doubts in my head around my ability to do things. And I've spent a lot of time since I left, sort of working through that interaction with her. So I think that kind of brought up a lot of issues that I'd sort of previously spent a lot of time working through. So it's, yeah, in a way, sometimes it's sort of like coming back, like a big sort of full circle to where I was many years ago, just because of one person. Even though, like, I keep telling myself, like, you've been through this, that this isn't true. One person's comments, as opposed to many people's feedback. It just, yeah, it sort of
I hear
stuck.
you. And why do you think it's stuck?
I think it's stuck because how it was delivered, and because the job that I took the redundancy for, I absolutely loved. Like, I was so passionate about the work. I loved my job, and I never saw myself leaving. I had it in my head, like, even up to mid last year, that this is where I was going to be until I retire. Even though the hours that I was doing were ridiculous and it took a lot of toll on my family relationship, I was still like, yep, this is my purpose. I'm very passionate about it. I'm changing women's lives within society. Like, I have like a really strong hold to make such a change. And to have this sort of interaction happen and this feedback from this person, even though at the time I was kind of like, this can't be true because what you're telling me has never come from anyone else. It just really hit my confidence, I think, because it was something that I just loved so much. And it totally went against, like, I felt that she was lying, and one of my big, strong values is honesty. So I really felt it was really, really going against one of my strong values, how she was, or what she was saying to me. And I just think yeah, it just really threw me.
Yeah, I get it, and I hear what you're saying completely, and I understand where you're coming from. But since that conversation, have
Mm,
you presented and done all of that work again?
mm.
And how was that?
Yeah, like I still, my positive inner voice that comes up and says, "You totally got this. You know what to do. You've done it." Um, it's still there. It just has to be stronger. I have to exercise it a bit more, make it louder. um,
And
yeah.
understand that you'll will probably never, even me, I hate public speaking. You know, I don't ever imagine that I'll ever present a webinar and not feel
Mm,
nervous, doubtful. Oh my God, how are people going to receive this? Have I, you know, I
yeah.
probably, I appreciate the fact that we've got two sides to our brain. One's doubting Thomas and one's, you know, positive Peter. But what is going to be helpful, like in the moment, and what is going to be helpful, like moving forward? Do we want to get stuck in a groove of this
Mm,
negativity bias that our brain seems to have? It's like that, you know, that you know, people say, you know, these celebrities, they might have 1,000 amazing positive feedback, but it's just that one negative feedback that spirals them into depression. You know, think about it that way. Do you want to become obsessing over one incident of a woman that actually you can't actually believe what she was saying anyway? So how
mm,
much impact do you want that to have on
mm.
what you're wanting to create for your future and in your business? You know, there's some part of that where you have to actually dissect the truth. If you don't know if she was telling the truth or not, you have to figure this out. You have to
Yeah,
figure out, was part of
yeah,
what she was saying true, or is it just a complete lie? Um, you know, if any of it were true, can I see where that might have happened and how I might have done it different, how I might do it differently next time then with that information? Or am I actually quite comfortable in the way that I did it in the first place? You have to really level out your thinking.
yeah, yeah. And I don't want to spend any more time thinking about her or that
Yeah.
situation. Like I want to move on from that. But it just it was a big shift in my life that I know, while I can see like every day, every week it is getting better, it's still I have those days where it pops up. Thinking about it, and I know that that's part of healing from those sorts of things. But yeah, ideally, I don't even want to be thinking about her or that feedback.
Yeah.
I want to get to a place where that's no longer
Yeah.
a concern for me.
Hmm. So when you're setting your pricing and doing all of the things that you feel tie into underselling yourself and that whole experience you've had, and that, you know, how are you going to know where that place is coming from? Because if you have this constant feeling of underselling yourself, like being an imposter, being found out, when you come to sit down and think about your value, this is why you are, oh my gosh, is that the time? Um, we're gonna have other people coming in now. Anna, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna move on to you now. Um, I want you then, Taz, to sit down when you're doing your pricing or whatever next step you need to take. Start to write down your business outline, your business outlook, and what you want to charge. Maybe not what you are eventually going to charge because it's new and we have to just play around with these things and get out there just for feedback. And
Yeah.
I want you to sit down with no um with no person in mind. So this is this, you know, this is an archetype card of somebody, a student basically. So for me, that says you're kind of a student, you're going into a new area, you are learning, you're learning the tricks of the trade, you're learning about yourself, and you're starting on a new path. But I want you to sit down if you've got time over the weekend and to write it out from a place of that positive voice, not the past voice where
Mm.
the doubts come from, but from the future point place where we talked about in the beginning, and write it from that, and just let me know
Yeah.
what comes up for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anna, moving on. So you probably got stuff from that
Yes,
anyway, listening to that conversation.
I have. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, because I was going to say, do you have anything you want to add to what I've already said?
I was really interested. Over here, Taz, we have like a paying back to the community kind of idea, sometimes local businesses. And I quite like the idea of doing a month of free sessions, because if nothing else, you could get those people to give you feedback and to write a little, or what do they call it? Like on a website where
Testimonial.
you have, yeah.
Mm.
So I think I'm going to use that. Thank you.
Yeah. What jumped out for you, Anna? And anything I didn't cover there, let me know and I can talk about it now.
Just, I think for me personally, I'm at the point where I'm thinking, do you offer, is it a choice of one-off sessions
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
or a program, or how many a month?
Yeah.
Or is it better to, is it better to sell a program rather than one-off sessions?
Yeah, it is. Well, it isn't. It isn't. It's whatever what it's about. What breakthrough you want your client to have, and if you feel you can achieve that in a one-off session. So how if you're offering someone a service where you know you've got to be with them to see their progression, to move them on from session to session to session, because let's say it was like a nutritionalist thing, you know, maybe a one-off session, unless it was a 2-3 hour session, or is not going to be enough. So it depends what goals you have for your
Right.
business. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
So for me, I could offer a one-off session, but if somebody came and said, I have this goal and it's XYZ, and I know, right, we're not going to get that. I'm not going to be able to get you there within one session. If it was a mindset shift, yeah. But if it was something else, I want you to help me achieve 1 stone loss in weight, let's say weight loss. I would need to be with them for a series of sessions to say, okay, how have you got on this week? What have been your strengths? What have been your weaknesses? How can we tweak your plan? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if something is a progression that you know you need to be there with them to move them forward, to move them forward, to move them forward, then yeah, always powerful to do a program. But
Mm.
one-off sessions are also really, really powerful because some people don't always like to buy a program.
Mm.
And you can offer a taster session, or even if someone does a full session with you, always have a program available to buy,
Right.
because it makes business sense.
Thank
Because
you.
you're
Yeah.
always having to be chasing one-off clients, one-off clients, one-off clients, one-off clients. So if you think, okay, yeah, one-off clients, that's fine, I can do that. But to scale my business and to, know you're going to have a bit more kind of profit and things like that, you kind of want to be thinking about programs.
Mm.
And you're going to have programs, by the way. You've got access to programs. You've got access to the 7 Steps to Spiritual
Yeah.
Alchemy and Awaken Heart Healing. So they're 2 programs. So one of our recent graduates, Robin, she was great. She had a group of women that she did it for free for while she was training. So she sent me the assessment. She had a group of 6 women, and she did the root chakra for free. So healing session on the root chakra. They all had the workbook. She guided them through completely free. But now she's gone back to them and said, okay, finish my assessment. I'm all qualified. Would you now like to move on and continue on the program and to do the rest of the work, the 7 steps? And they've all gone, yeah.
Brilliant.
Now she sold it on a beta test. So a beta test is great to get people involved because it's a lower price to what you're going to charge in the future, because it's a beta trial whereby you're basically testing this new product on people and you want feedback. They know it's not perfect because you're there trialing it, and your feedback is going to help them perfect it for the next cohort. But it just means that you have a great product. You're very open about the fact it's on a beta test, which everybody knows this product is still in the testing, and I'm one of the testers. And my feedback's going to make a difference. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm getting it at half price or even less than half price. So that's a great way. And I think that when we start a business, we have so much pressure on the money that we need to earn. It's just crazy. And it can overwhelm us. It can flood our nervous system. We can get so terrified that I don't feel confident enough to charge what I know I am worth. Forget it, right? Just do whatever you need to do to build up your confidence, to build up your following, to build up your client testimonials. You've just got to create a presence, and that presence doesn't need to be on social media. That presence can just be in the arena that you're going into. So Taz, if you say the wellness space within corporate for the perimenopausal, it's an upcoming like topic at the moment. You want to make a presence in that field, and whether that means you have to peck your friends' heads to go and get you those contacts, to go and get you the email addresses of those people that you can speak to that are going to get you through the door, then that's where your presence needs to be. It doesn't need to be on social media. You don't need to do all this crying that I've seen people do lately on, like, just, it's just ridiculous. It's for some people and it's not for others. So find where you feel you can do it. And for yourself, Anna, wherever you feel they're my target audience over there, how am I going to get to speak to them?
Yeah.
That's where your presence needs to shine. That's where you need to show up, and you need to own it. And your CV is all, both of you ladies, your CV, your credentials lies in the vast wealth and wisdom you already possess, not in what you're going to have a certificate in the next couple of months. Of course, it's added, but it's added to this well of experience that you both hold as experts in the field that you're coming from. And all right, Anna, you might not show up going, I'm a teacher, so therefore, but what you need to think about what those transferable skills are that you gained from teaching, because people
Yes.
will take you so seriously.
Yeah.
So you just sit down and think about, what are my strengths? What if I were to go into a room of women and I want them to listen? What am I gonna, what's my opening state? What do they need to know about me for me to get their attention where they take me seriously? They're not going to take you seriously if you go in and go, oh, I'm just training on this course and I'm only a couple of modules into it, but yeah, I'm just training. And you don't tell them anything about where you've come from, what you've learned, and the wisdom that you've got, and what you're here to deliver. It doesn't matter that you're training. Whatever that comes up in conversation, fine, because you're telling them how much great stuff you're learning. And, oh, I didn't know this.
They're building that story, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're getting them excited. Oh, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. Focus on your strengths of what you've got.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Thank you. Yes, that's lovely.